So, in the many fields of the paradigm in psychosomatic, neuroscience represent probably the core of all the research. Because inside the researching of neuroscience, the consciousness revolution has really happened. So let's see. First of all, Francis Crick, he got the Nobel Prize in Medicine because he discovered the DNA in the early 80s. And he did a very famous statement: consciousness is a legitimate field of scientific research. He was the first man, Nobel Prize winner, that after the dichotomy of Descartes, say, well, we cannot do this division anymore. Science have to start again to study consciousness. Is a very important and strong statement. And this is the beginning of something really new that happened in science. Because before, there was not even the instrument to study consciousness. There were not even the idea to study consciousness. How can we study consciousness? Consciousness is something like metaphysical. This was the idea, the whole believing system. And he stated even that in order to study consciousness, we have to understand the brain function in a very multidisciplinary way, in a very holistic way. And this is what has really happened. Sir John Eccles, he was a Nobel Prize in Medicine, and he wrote a book, Evolution of the Brain and Creation of the Self. The book was written in 1989, and is the first understanding, the first serious research on how our brain evolved from past brain, more simple kind of brains. And simple brain means even simple consciousness. Consciousness is the same, but we have a much deeper, complex, articulate consciousness. In the beginning, he thought that probably in the higher part of the brain, the neocortex, was the anatomical place of the consciousness, but this was not exactly the truth. Then Paul MacLean, a very famous physician and neuroscientist, who discovered that the brain could be divided in 3 brains. And he said that in order to understand our human brain, we have to see this 3 brain evolution really well. And he started to divide them in reptile brain, mammal way, and human way. One is the brain, you see, the old brain close to the spine. The second and the third is like a step. But the brain evolved in dimension, in complexity, but after the mammalian, apes and human being really have an incredible and enormous brain evolution, upper brain evolution. And as we see, the time of evolution, represented by this blue-pink curve, is exactly the same as general evolution, is increasing in complexity and in time. So the more complex should be the long time for evolution, and on the other way is the quickest time. So Paul MacLean proposed one system consciousness divided in a lower part, a reptilian brain, body consciousness, a mammalian brain, emotional consciousness, and a neocortical human brain or mental consciousness. So the self is we are our body consciousness, the feeling of our body, the feeling of our emotional and relation world, and our idea, our believing system, our memories. And then Gerard Edelman. I really have a particular intensity for this man who won the Nobel Prize in Medicine, because he's the first neuroscientist, that discovered the neural network of self-consciousness. And he discovered that he called it dynamic network of consciousness. He said, to explain consciousness, we need a global understanding of the brain as a complexity. Edelman discovered that that is the mammalian brain, the emotional brain, and this green spot is the thalamus, the very center of the emotional brain. This is the core of the whole network of self-consciousness. So in this place is sending information to all the brain and receiving back. He is doing it 50 times a second, with 50 hertz a second. And you see this is the thalamus, this is the neocortex, and each part of the thalamus is in touch with a part of our consciousness. These have an incredible communication because it's a round trip. It's a network that communicates 50 times a second with himself, creating the basic of consciousness, and then we will see even of self-consciousness. This means even that the heart is the very center of consciousness. When we say I, we don't say I or we don't say hi. We say I, like putting our hand on our heart, on our chest, because emotions are very, very close to the self and the consciousness. And then Jack Pansep. Jack Pansep have been here 5 years ago. He was a friend and is the neuroscientist who discovered the brain 7 emotional system and who discovered the basic old center of self-awareness. Let's see a very picture in transparency, the whole brain with the PAG, periaqueductal gray area, and then the mammalian brain in green, and the thalamus, and the neocortex. And the primary consciousness is the body consciousness, is the reptilian consciousness. We cannot be alive without this self-consciousness that is preventing us to hurt ourselves, and that is leading to a physical pleasure, like eating, sleeping, doing sex, and just being in a good environment. Jack Pansep discovered that in our body there are 7 areas that are dealing with all the basic 7 different emotions, and in the same area of all the animal more primitive than us, there is exactly in the same place, the same center, who is dealing with the same emotion. So we can say that we share the same emotions and the same basic consciousness of all living being, and basically reptilian, mammalian, and human being. This is reptilian brain, mammal brain, emotional brain, and upper brain. So he discovered that in the reptilian brain, the most old, there is all the basic emotion, like fear, to escape from any danger or pain, the rage, dominance, because you can even react to something that is making in difficulty, the sex and lust with testosterone, and the basic body pleasure, the homeostatic system that is balancing ourselves and our body. And then these are the main emotional systems that are presented even in reptilian brain. And then in the mammalian brain, we have two main systems. The care-loving system, because mammalian cannot just make an egg and leave it, like do the reptilian animal. They have to take care of this small being. And the care system is driven by oxytocin. And it's so important that parallel to the care system, there is the grief, the sadness, the panic system. If a baby of a cat, of a bird, of a human being is feeling to be alone, he starts to cry. That is a message. And the cry have an incredible, the same basic vibration. It's like meow, meow, pew, pew. And every person that is coming by say, well, oh, poor cat, poor birds, and is activating the care system. So you take the animal or the children. And on the other side, there is a play, dreamlike, and a seeking passion system. Both of them are activated by dopamine. And this system is the socialization, is the play system, is the joy of living, of doing something with friends, with the people of our family. So this is a very, very interesting system, and we will go through in the next lessons. Let's resume. So there is the reptilian brain, that is the instinctive body consciousness, and the PAG, periaqueductal brain, that is the center of body self. If we surgically hurt this area, we lose conscience. We lose conscience. And this is the mammalian brain, the living system, the emotional consciousness. And here in the center, there is the thalamus. This is the center of the emotional self. And why we call it the emotional self-center? Because if we surgically hurt the thalamus, we lose completely our conscience, our awareness of ourselves. And if we cut it, we will never go back to consciousness. So we stay in coma. This is the neocortical mental consciousness. We can cut surgically many pieces of this mental consciousness, and we can lose some tools, some understanding, some of our social reaction, but we never lose conscience. And our conscience, so, is a network, is a deep relation between body, emotion, and thought. So we are a three-dimensional being. But this is not enough for our evolution, because we can get a step farther. And the step is being self-conscious. Just imagine that all this information are connected through electromagnetic information. That's why we use the EEG, the electroencephalogram. So that is study the teeny electric wave in our brain. So this is an electromagnetic network, and electromagnetism is done by photons. What happens when photons get aware of themselves? When we are getting aware of ourselves? It's like the same coherence, we create the same inner coherence that happens in the laser beam. And this is creating a higher level of light, of energy. It's like we feel enlightened, we feel bright mind, bright idea. Sometimes we are losing that, and we feel dark thought, heavy feelings. So, and in the brain there is even two different quality. We can call it male and female quality that needs to stay together and to collaborate together. And this we will see that those two sides are very, very important for human health and for the stress and to release of the stress. So this is our map. We create this psychosomatic map of the self by putting the self at the center of this whole map. The body self, the emotional self, and the mental self, but this is the self area, the self sphere. And when we are in balance, body, emotion, and mind, then we feel one. And moreover, we have to be in balance with all our emotion. So if you have too less body pleasure, or too much fear, or too rage, too aggressivity, or too much playfulness, or too much love, a mother too apprehensive is just taking ahead from life, from living, or less love, and then we feel pain and sadness. So this shows a big balance between all our dimensions that are present in the brain, in our consciousness. So now we go into a very interesting research and discovery of neuroscience that just open a door to a different new understanding of all medical tradition. The neuroendocrine revolution. So this is George Northoff, is a professor of neuroscience, and with Panksepp they discover the neurocognitive axis of the self. They call it cortical, this part, and subcortical, that part, midline structure. That means that in our brain there is a kind of high road for information. It's like a very big pathways. Is like a concentration of information right in the middle, and this is connecting the higher consciousness of neocortical consciousness to the self emotional consciousness, to the physical body consciousness. And let's remember that the body is just a hologram of our, the brain is just a hologram of our body. So the mind, when we talk about mind, we talk about the head. And when we say something about our emotion, we talk about our heart. And when we say, I'm really angry, or I need to sleep, or I need to do some physical, we really feel it in the belly. This is the old pattern, and in all main medical tradition, that means Indian, Himalayan, Ayurvedic medicine and yogic tradition, or in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition of Tibet, or in China, old Chinese medical tradition, have discovered exactly the same pattern. They just give different name of the chakra of the channel of acupuncture, but is exactly the same. On this, all the traditional medicine are basically on the same. This is like a DNA for all of them. Is a fixed point, and we can see shortly like this is exactly the same axis in a double way, Ida Pingala, of the 7 chakra in China, in Indian medicine. This is Chinese medicine. The head, the superior dantian, that is the mind, the heart, and the belly, the 3 dantian and the channel. And they discover the same even in Tibet. They discover the same channel done in a very lightly different way, but the same 7 area And all the Tibetan medicine is working on this pattern. So we first, as the World Health Organization is inviting us as a doctor, as a scientist, to do since many years, just to prove the scientific evidence of the ancient traditional medicine. Now we did it. And we did some more research. I put together the three main Indian, Tibetan, and Chinese tradition. And if you just put the map together of acupuncture, channel, and chakra, you are just the same map. And it's very close to the anatomical body. Look at that. These are the two, physical, and they are basically the same. So we have two ways to understand the all wise, the all wisdom of the past in a very scientific and up-to-date way. So I really would like to end this lesson with a short experience of our inner axis. So let's start a short self-awareness on our body, and we can experience something about this tree brain and something about our neural axis. So I invite you to just relax, to sit on a chair or in any place you feel easy. Close your eyes. Just feel your body, breathe, and just for a second stretch your body. And just feel, turn a little bit your neck and your shoulder and all your spine down to the basin and the belly. And then take a right position, aligned, and relax. And again, feel all the body breathing alone, on its own. No need to control anything. Enjoying this 10 minutes relaxation. Open your heart and just feel easy. Kind of taking a short nap, but in a conscious way. When we fall asleep or we take a nap, our eyes relax, and there is sometimes the eyes that get a little higher, a little inside, alone, without any concentration, without any effort. And in this position we start to feel better all our head, all the breath. Coming inside, going outside. Open your mouth and very gently just feel your neck and the upper part of your spine. Just move it a few inches, sometimes even some millimeters. And let's feel all our spine. from the top of the head all down through the spine to the lower part of the body where we are seated. And just feel that the body is breathing in, even on your back. Sometimes you feel maybe that the chest, the upper part of the spine is breathing more, or sometimes the belly, the lumbar part of the spine. But just feel the whole spine. And now let's open our heart. And let's put your hand on your knee as you feel comfortable, with the palm of your hand up, open. And just feel your breath from the chest, from your lungs, from your heart. Breathing in the shoulder, on the arms, down on your hands. And sometimes you can feel that even the hands are breathing. There is a light sensation, a delicate sensation of movement, of energy, of feeling, even in the hand. And just enjoy. Sometimes our heart is closed, is suffering, is sad. Sometimes we can decide to open a little bit our heart and just enjoy the present moment. So many friends, so many people are in love with us, and we are in love with them. This is the mammalian brain. This is the emotional brain. And just remember, when you love someone, when you feel friend with someone, then you feel just to embrace, to touch, to caress them, to shake your hand or touch your hands. And in every part of the world there is something like open heart, broken heart, is a person with a big heart, or he doesn't have any heart. That means he doesn't have any love, any emotion. Just for a second, let's feel it and breathe into the heart, into the emotional dimension. And then just feel the belly, and just feel the dominant function of the belly is to eat. In the belly we have the stomach, intestine, colon, digestion. And just feel, when we feel the pleasure of eating something good, can be a chocolate, sugar, many things, get higher level of serotonin, the molecules of body pleasure. The sensation that you are tired and you want to go to bed and you can't sleep. You just lie down and there is your bed, is a safe place, you can relax and feel this satisfaction, bodily satisfaction. And in the belly there is the surrenal glands, adrenal glands, that are dealing with fear, with stress, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline. This all is start from the belly, on the back side of the belly, and is very powerful when you get in a fearful mood. And sometimes it is absolutely useful, functional. Fear can save our life, can make us escaping or reacting to something heavy, to something dangerous. And then the sexual organs, the pleasure to feel this sexual contact, energy, is a deep pleasure in life. All these basic part of our life, very fundamental part of life, are all based in the belly and in the brain, in the reptilian brain, the oldest brain. And after this reptilian and mammalian brain, body consciousness and emotional consciousness, let's get up to the head. The head should be basically consciousness. But we are living in such a complicated world that the head becomes a mind, a control mind, controlling everything, organizing, thinking, and sometimes we cannot stop this mind activity. Is a very dictatorship of the mind over the heart and the body. Just let's enjoy now a space, a silent space in our mind, in our head, and restore consciousness. The present, the feeling that I exist in the mind, in the heart, in the body, and the oneness, when all three brains are just one thing, breathing together, synchronizing together. Just enjoy 30-second breathing. And now let's feel that in this moment our neural axis is working. Let's feel in this moment that we are aligned. And our spine is moving information and energy from the bottom to the top of the spine. And just feel how many thousand billion of years we struggle to become an erect man, Homus erectus. And just feel the pleasure of this alignment. When the Indian yogis say all the chakras are aligned, are working in synchronicity. And the Chinese say the three Tantian are working in harmony. And we can really feel the importance to be an integral being, a one system, a unitary system. Even if we are made of three brain, of three different dimensions. Very good. Feel your oneness, feel your center. And don't think about, just do it. If I say, just say with your hand, with your body, I am me. Try to do it with your hand, where you will put your hand. It's me. And basically, most of the people will put the hand on the chest, on the heart, the center of being. Try, put your hand on your heart and just say, it's me. I exist. Even without thinking anything. Just feel it. To exist as a whole, breathing. And feel all your space around yourself. Enjoy to be alive, to be self-conscious. In this moment, the three parts of the brain are synchronized. And soon in the next lectures, we will see the brain EEG that is getting to a higher level of coherence. Very good. Now, let's stretch gently your spine, your body. And then, slowly, open your eyes. And let's enjoy the end of this lesson.